Okay, so I've been putting together these moon photograph videos now, and it's going well. I like doing this. This is easy for me as well. I'm downloading the photographs from um, the internet, so showing that from anywhere on the internet. Go to any moon pictures, videos, whatever, and just start holding the picture up at your camera. Put your camera on a tripod. Start looking in on it like this, and then like this, and then like this. And it's so easy to do, right? Um, it's all right there for us to see. It's maybe hard to believe because it's not anything we've ever been told, but I want to go back and talk before this series is going to end. I only got maybe another 10 more videos to do, and then the series is going to be ended. And I want to talk to Sylvia and Brother Sanchez about a couple things, specifically them about two specific things. I talked a little bit in the other video about sound resonance, the churches being set up in order to control the electromagnetic current, and the churches were a big part of that. I also mentioned in that same one, I can't find the paper, but we talked about how they got it up into the air without the chemtrails at the time, which was smelting, smokestacks, that kind of thing, right? And yeah, I guess that was my shitty picture of that. They used to use the stacks, factories, and all that kind of shit. And then they now, last 20, 25 years, maybe more. We only been noticing it 20-something years, but could have been longer with the chemtrailing. They've been doing that. So what I want to talk to both of you about something specific. Sylvia, I guess I'll start with you. I've already mentioned those 50-ton to 350-ton stones, precision cut stones, those really big stones that are precision cut, put in place, and all that. And we always wondered how that happened. Well, we know now how that happened. We definitely know how this works. We're just going to have to wake everybody up and then take the technology back, because this is the technology that you're always looking for. This is like you talk about a lot of these things, and you're not even realizing that how deep you're into it, I don't think. And at this point, when I last left off watching your channel, again, probably a year ago or better, we're at that point spinning your wheels as well at that point. So I don't know if you still are or not, but if you are still spinning your wheels, this is it. This is the answer. We were able to cut stones back then, you know yourself, 50-ton to 350-ton stones. We don't have any technology today that would do that. Even lasers are, again, garbage, would not be able to do this job. We were the tools. We were the tools that did this. I believe there's evidence for that. You may not agree with my evidence, and I won't even bother getting into it right now at this point, but I can watch the nanocarbon push the heavy metals into place and watch the lightning come right down and follow these nanocarbon and follow and then go right around the imagery, everything that I explained the other day about that. Obviously, I cannot get into a tornado. I cannot get into tornadoes or hurricanes. But the thing is that if I can show you that, you can show yourself. You'll be able to see all this for yourself. If you can prove by looking into the lightning that this is exactly what's happening, and you can. Everybody is. Like I said, it's not hidden. None of this is hidden. It's all right there for us to see it if anybody wants to look, because that seems like every time I look at something, I find it. So it's not a problem to find it. You just have to look. You have to want to look. That's how we were cutting the stones. Now, I have a lot of theories by watching the colors of these heavy metals. I believe that it's the lighter color heavy metals that were doing the cutting. In other words, the lighter skinned people, possibly the redheads, might have, white skin, that kind of thing. They might have been the ones that were doing that. Like you're always looking for the blonde-haired, green-eyed, red-haired, green-eyed, white-skinned, the Atlanteans that you're always looking for. that may be the answer for you as well. That's why I think it's important to point all this nanocarbon out to you and Brother Sanchez for a separate reason. Brother Sanchez is going to be the moon. But for you, Sylvie, look into this. Placing the stones, setting the stones, moving the stones for hundreds of miles. This technology that we today call hurricanes, tornadoes, lightning, we call it weather, we call it natural occurrences. We had control of all this. That gives explanation for everything that you've been looking for, Sylvie. Everything you've been looking for, this gives explanation for it. The Atlanteans, if that's what you want to call them, maybe they were. Maybe that's what we were. I don't know. Maybe this awakening that I'm talking about, maybe this is all part of it. Maybe the veil being lifted, separated, is part of the awakening, the reason for the true awakening. And it's our job as slaves to deceive everybody and lie to everybody and get them all distracted on a bunch of shit that they can't prove. And keep this part that they could prove to themselves, they just open their fucking eyes. This gets, don't look at this. This is nothing. Look at Brad Pitt. Look at all the entertainment shit. Look at the comedians. Look at the music. Look at look at all that. Look at the car shows. Look at the school. Look at your grades. Look at your financial status. You know the drill. So I'm not going to explain a lot of this, Sylvia. I'm just going to mention it to you in passing. I'm not going to even make a full video out of talking about all this, which I love talking about it all, because even since I did this poster was made like 5-6 months ago, and I found the nanocarbon just over 6 months ago. So every month, it's more, every day for that matter, but this was a month by month thing. Every time I looked in and I saw more things with the lightning and learned more about the lightning, I said, oh, this is definitely the way this is going. So the tornadoes, the hurricane, again, all steered by sound resonance, right? So you get this one. So you're going to love this one. So back in the day, I don't know if this camera is going to pick up. I got all my light on the wrong side. I don't know if I turn this light on might help. No, throws a bigger shadow. All right. So anyways, back in the day, Sylvie, again, something else that you talk about, right? It's my idea of a mountain. And you talk about these munchkins. I'm being sarcastic, but you talk about these munchkins, right? They had these triangular shaped caves. Now, I've heard you mention before you were onto it, and a couple other channels were also onto it as well. You've seen these, am I even showing you it? Okay, there you go. You had these triangular shaped caves, all right? So they go through the mountain. They go through the mountain. I don't know which way they go. I never paid attention. You know better than I do. All right, so take this one. Okay. All right, so this is my idea of a triangle shape that goes all the way through this mountain. And you knew, I know I heard you mention sound resonance travels at the top of this triangular shaped cave that goes all the way through the mountain, right? Whether they were small people that were building these caves or not, I don't know. And why even debate it? Really at this point, who gives a shit, really, what size they were? Yes, they probably were small people, maybe. But I think there was a way of cutting this out where no one even had to crawl into them. There was a way with the technology that we had, blows anything we had today away. It could be a matter of heavy metal here on this side, knowing what the heavy metals are that travel through this, now today a cave, but through the mountain at the time. Another metal, if you want to say metal shaft, that's fine. I went along with that for a long time too, but I'm more thinking it was something else. But let's say the metal shaft, and then the lightning came down and went into the shaft, and they were able to cut these blocks and cut holes in mountains and all this, right? That was the reason why the triangular shapes, though, is what I want to explain. This gives me reason, the nanocarbon reason, all this reason, because the churches, there weren't enough. When you start hitting like, let's say, 200 to 300 years ago, we could put a church in every town, right? And when I said that the other day, every town, that was way understated. Think about it. Every town, every neighborhood. So let's say you had a town the size of, let's say, Holyoke, Massachusetts, let's say, for example. hundreds of churches back then, hundreds of churches in all the neighborhoods. Everybody's, and then you got to remember, there wasn't just all one religion. It wasn't all just one religion back then. No, no, no. You had a, uh, different church on every corner, and it turned into that over the years. And a lot of them are still standing today, and they got turned into schools. They all had bell towers. They always had these crosses or some symbol on top. In other words, a big metal rod. Okay, so like we said the other day, sound resonance ran up through these churches, went up, fed the system, steered the system. It steered the nanocarbon, okay? These churches did that job. The bell towers did it. The large pianos did it. Okay, so now we go back in time before there was churches on every corner. So before there was churches on every corner, that I know I'm just answering the questions I know are going to be asked. This is how they did it, because they knew this is also evidence that they knew all this technology that I'm talking and showing you guys about the nanocarbon. They knew back then. The Atlanteans had this technology that you're all denying. You're all going to deny this technology, and it's a big mistake. I mean, this is it. All right. So, anyways, the wind comes blowing through. Right. They know the current. They know where the current's going to be coming from. So these caves, when you go, and I learned a lot of this on your channels, Sylvie. I learned this on your series that you were making, because I seen them and I questioned things and I went and looked at stuff, and I'm like, I was figuring this out, the sound resonance part of it, long before I found the nanocarbon. I was understanding that, and it don't have to be Munchkins that made them. They just have to know the travel of the cut. Which way, what direction is my cut going to go in? It's amazing. And then the ones that go underground, same thing. Same thing with the ones that go underground. So some of these tunnels, and you'll be very familiar with them, Sylvie. So let's say, you got a couple of them. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 of them on the side of a mountain. And then one of them is going to run down this way and they always come out another way. At least at one time they did. As you also well know, Sylvie, a lot of them are blocked off. So again, I'll try to draw my shitty, triangular mountainside thing. And then again, sound resonance comes through. How? What we call wind is actually electromagnetic current. When the electromagnetic current comes through, they knew where they were, just like when they built the pyramids, I have to believe they were still maybe on an above ground scale controlling sound resonance. If those other bunch of stupid rocks in Europe end up being anything at all, is that where they are? Europe? I think so. Stonehenge. So if Stonehenge ends up being anything at all, who knows? Maybe it is. I would say it was used for sound resonance. As a matter of fact, it looks so sloppy and put together so shitty. I would say it's there to distract and disrupt the correct sound resonance, judging by the way it looks. It's just so half-assed. Put in place. I would say the current goes through that area, and it's purposely set up that way to give a shitty ass sound resonance. Probably way above the 60 hertz even. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just mentioning all this. I feel I need to mention all this. What am I at? 13 minutes. Okay. Next one. Again, Sylvie, these are for you. These are all for you. I'll go to Brother Sanchez next. Good. Alright. So, if you go over here and you go look at her, right, and I'll try to draw her body, whatever the hell it was, right, it's way back there. And it's way back there. It's actually fatter than that. The Sphinx. Okay, so if you go to the Sphinx and you look at the triangular shapes of these caves, they go all the way through and come back out another end. I don't even know if the electromagnetic current is still running in the same direction as when some of these other things were done. I don't know. We'd have to look into that. But this makes sense. I was always wondering why, okay, even if you wanted to make the cat's face, why would you have to make them caves from the eyes all the way down through for, I don't even know, I don't want to guess. It's not miles, but it's thousands of feet away. And then exit probably even further than that. After you go winding around, again, triangular shaped caves going all the way through, right? Totally demolished, totally buried, caved in, hidden from us for a long time until they had all their dinosaur bullshit stories set up for us, and the false history of everything was all being set up one thing at a time. The false religions were all being put into place over the 4,000 years, because I think the Sphinx was long after. I think those big blocks, Sylvie, to be honest with you, I believe these were either before or right after. These 50-ton, the 350-ton stones were before or right after the veil was built. If it was right after the veil was built, I would say the pyramids and this cat come into play. The Sphinx come into play somewhere, again, maybe 1,000 years gap, maybe a 500-year gap, I don't know. But as the religions all started changing and we were going from geocentric religions over to the heliocentric religions, even the geocentric religions, I mean, anyways, Sylvia, you have evidence for this. You have all the evidence for this all over your channels. This gives, again, everything you've been saying for years now, it gives you reason. Go look at the nanocarbon. Go look into the sound resonance thing that I'm talking about. It's very simple. You'll be able to hear it, see it. This is nothing that anyone cannot see and hear. Anyone can see and hear everything that I'm talking about. From the sound resonances to seeing the nanocarbon and seeing the imagery. Everybody can have this. It's not a secret. All right, what am I at? 16 point something minutes. What else did I want to go over for Sylvie? Yeah, so anyways, it's all over the place. Evidence of the sound resonance. So that's how they did the sound resonance before the churches were doing it. Churches started doing it at some point under the geocentric model, and yes, they could go ahead and do that. Same thing with the smelting. Same thing with the smelting that I was telling you about. I don't have any good papers on a marker. Back in the day, you know this, Sylvie, again, on your channel, you discuss a lot of these things. You probably don't go as far as some of the other people will say, volcanoes are smelting pots or whatever. But you do look into the mountains with these humongous freaking smelting pots. That's the wrong picture. There we go. Humongous smelting pots. They can't even get them out of the freaking caves. They don't know how the hell they were built and how they were put in there and everything. There's no answers for anything. There's no logical explanation for none of that. And they were just put into these big mountains. They were big smelting chambers. That's how back in them days they got the heavy metals up into the atmosphere, was these big smelting pots. Volcanoes could be, I mean, that psyop could be true. I mean, the volcanoes could be a natural smelting pot for the system. It's a very good possibility. It has, again, something else that should be looked into. So that's all I guess I wanted to talk to Sylvie and throw at you as you're going along. Hopefully you did go watch some of my videos at least, and you come to some of these, then that'd be great. And now I'm going to shut down and do one to Brother Sanchez, because I talked to Brother Sanchez about the moon, because he's all over the moon when I last left him off a year ago too. So I'll shut down and I'll try to reset back up on the moon video. Okay, see you soon.